Welcome. My name is Aaron Menzer. I'm with Retirement Understood. We are a comprehensive retirement planning firm, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about estate planning and why it's important to you. So first of all, what is an estate plan? An estate plan is the process of the management and transfer of assets after your death. Most people do an estate plan for one of three reasons. First of all, you want your loved ones to be taken care of, and you want your assets to go to who you want them to go to, your beneficiaries, as quickly and efficiently as possible. The second reason is taxes. I hear all the time where people tell me, Aaron, I'm in the highest tax bracket of my life, and I retired 3 years ago. What do I do? And how do I make sure that my kids don't pay taxes on all this money that I've spent my whole life saving? So estate plans are great for that. And the third one is to avoid probate. So in Wisconsin, probate is the legal process of retitling a dead person's assets. If your assets don't have direct beneficiaries or are property like houses and don't have transfer on death deeds, a lot of times if your estate is worth over $50,000, it will go through probate in Wisconsin. Probate is a process that takes between 12 and 24 months. It generally costs between 3 and 8% of the estate. So you can see, on a $500,000 estate, if you pay 5%, that's $25,000 that your beneficiaries are going to pay in probate costs, court costs, lawyer fees, and that's assuming nobody fights over anything, nobody gets lawyers involved or extra lawyers involved, and everything goes smoothly. So probate can be very expensive, time-consuming, and very stressful for a family. One way to avoid probate, at least in Wisconsin, is to do a trust. So I had grandparents on my dad's side, Papa Wally and Grandma Judy. They had a trust done in the early 2000s. They had 4 kids, 4 boys. All boys had grandchildren. So they got their trust done early in the 2000s. My grandpa passed away, I think it was around 2009. And Grandma lived till about 2018. For the last really 5 years of Grandma's life, she didn't leave the house a whole lot. She watched her soap operas. She complained about, what was on the news or the weather or whatever. And, kind of sat at home and did her thing, which was great, but she wasn't leaving the house to go and get her trust updated. So what happened when she passed, my dad said that they had wanted their estate to go to the 3 remaining boys, 33 and a third percent each. Well, that's not the way the trust was set up. The trust was set up where my Uncle Scott, who had passed away before my grandmother, his share would go to my cousin Jennifer, who lives in Kentucky. So that's the way my dad thought about getting lawyers involved, and his brothers were kind of going to fight that, but the trust was pretty ironclad. That's the way it was spelled out. Grandma didn't want to change it, or Grandma didn't take the time to change it. She may have wanted to, but it didn't happen. So that's how the assets were distributed. There wasn't a whole lot you could do about it. And at the end of the day, it really wasn't that big of a deal, but I know my dad and his brothers were a little upset. So if you have an estate plan, I get all the time, I sit down with clients and, Aaron, I had a will done back in 1999, or I had a trust done back in 2003. Is that still good? Is that still going to work for me? And it might not. Situations change, laws change. People may pass away. You may have more grandchildren. There are a lot of different life events that can happen that can invalidate or outdate your current legal work. So I always recommend getting it looked at by somebody, every 3 to 5 years, making sure everything's up to date. My other grandparents were a little bit more different. So they had a will. So my grandma passed away in 2015. My mom passed away in 2016. And then my grandpa passed away in 2021, Grandma Carol and Papa Jack. So they had a will, and it was set up in order to essentially distribute my mom's portion of their estate to my brother and I. The estate process, or the probate process, took, I think it was about 30 months by the time we finally got the house sold. It cost about $50,000 out of a $750,000 estate, so it was relatively expensive. And my uncle had a heart attack back in 2017. He was living with my grandpa when he passed away. Well, once my grandpa passed away, there was nobody who owned the house, right? He didn't pass it along to anybody. It was just supposed to go to the 3 remaining kids and my brother and I. So what happened, my aunt and my uncle spent 2 years arguing. It wasn't 2 years, it was about 6 months arguing about whether or not he could stay in that house, whether or not the house had to be sold, whether or not he could buy it out from his portion of the estate, or what that was going to look like. It went back and forth. And I think they went a while without talking after that. My uncle unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but a few years after that, after my grandpa did, 2024, I believe. But it really affected our family relationship, and it made things harder. I mean, they didn't get together for Christmas or Thanksgiving. And we always had as a family, we always played cards and sheephead. And it was really strained after that. I mean, the money wasn't that big of a deal. The house sat empty for about 2 years, and my uncle moved into an apartment by himself, and everything worked out, like I said, fine. But again, it was a lot of extra stress. It was a lot of extra tension that we really didn't need, especially death's hard on anybody. My grandpa was one of my favorite people in the world, one of the nicest men I ever met. And it was really hard on the family when he passed away, and not having a real estate plan in place or a plan for what could happen to my uncle or, things like that in place really hurt our family. So guys, I cannot stress how important it is. My contact info is going to be in the notes at the bottom. We are headquartered here in Wisconsin, but I've got a great team behind me, lawyers and CPAs and registered investment advisors and income planners. We've got a great team here. We can work nationwide. So I'm happy to answer your questions, happy to sit down and talk with you. If you don't reach out to me, reach out to somebody. Reach out to your attorney or your financial advisor and just ask him, I've got these assets. Where are they going? Are they going where I want to? What is my plan? And get something put in place. So again, my name is Aaron Menzer. I'm with Retirement Understood. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. Otherwise, we're going to be doing these videos every week. Next week, I'd like to talk a little bit more about some of the definitions and parts of the estate plan, how that can benefit you and why you need them. So I hope to see you next week. Hit subscribe below, and we'll talk soon. Have a great day.